On this episode, my guest is Zahra Karsan. Among her many accomplishments, Zara is the best selling author of 6 Weeks to Happy and creator of the groundbreaking Rewire system. In discussing the concepts of happiness, Zara shares her insights and knowledge acquired from her more than 20 years' experience as a management consultant and corporate coach. We also consider the importance of understanding one's core needs, personality type, and values as contributors towards a fulfilling life. Zahra Karsan, up next. Zahra Karsan, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm well. Thank you for joining our show. So, just to give our listeners some information and background on you, you are certified in mindset coaching and neuroscience. You are a motivational and public speaker, an entrepreneur, a trusted success coach to many global executives. You are the best-selling author of 6 Weeks to Happy and the creator of the Rewire system. Your company, Get Zen, offers a suite of products, including online training courses. You have over 20 years of experience as a management consultant. You
Right.
also hold degrees in psychology, applied positive psychology, and neuroscience, and you are certified as a master neuro-linguistic programming practitioner and life coach, a master hypnotherapist, and master timeline therapy practitioner. I think I've covered a lot. I know not all, but a lot.
It's quite a range of training I went
It
through.
is. Exactly. And I also just want to add, you also sit on the World Happiness Foundation as an advisory board member.
Yes, correct.
Wow. You've had such an interesting life. You really have.
Certainly. I feel like I've had more than 9 lives, if that's what a cat gets. Well, I'm a lioness, so there you go. I'm a Leo. Definitely, I've had many, many lives.
So can you start by telling us your journey?
Sure. I guess it all started in South Africa. I was born during apartheid, and there are many schools of thought, even some of the Stoic philosophers and some of the great philosophers we know about. Plato wrote about it, where he said, he talked about reincarnation, and he talked about the fact that your soul chooses your journey before you're born into this life. And I
Right.
think it's a fascinating topic. And if that's true, I take it as a theory. If that's true, it's interesting then that I would have been chosen to be born a woman of color in South Africa during apartheid. So we'll call it disadvantaged or previously disadvantaged person of color and or gender, because we still live in largely a patriarchy. Things are starting to change, but we're not there yet. We have some time. So I think that's where my journey began. And as a young person going through life in a segregated society like that, we had, the public beaches are reserved for just the white race. And so separate schools, separate townships, separate everything. We weren't allowed into hotels and restaurants. It wasn't unlike some places here in the southern US. And those are concepts that are very difficult to understand as a small child. And so what human beings do when they come across a moment where, imagine, like, we've all been around children, or you've had children yourself, and they're just full of light and full of joy. All they want to do is giggle all day long. And they'll hurt themselves. They'll get a bruise or a cut, and they'll just brush themselves off. And then seconds later, they're giggling again. It's how we come into this world, just pure light and pure consciousness. And so that became a really difficult thing to understand. What happens with that child who's all pure joy is when he or she comes across a moment that doesn't feel right, and it causes them finally to say, why? Something is wrong here. Why is this happening? And it's the human condition. It's part of our wiring to come up with a story to explain why that's happening. So I was on a beach trying to get to the beautiful beach, which was not accessible to somebody of my skin color. I was asking the question, why? And my little mind, 3 years old probably at the time, said, oh, well, I guess I'm not good enough to be where I wanted to be. And that became a little story that ran in my background. And, as a teenager, I thought to myself, I just always had this vision of a great big life for myself. I can't explain it. But in the difficult moments, there was something, my own spirit, my own tuition, my own soul just comforted me and said, you are meant for great things. You are going to be okay. You will always have enough money. You are going to live an exciting life and you're going to be just fine. And so it comforted me in those difficult moments when I was sad or disappointed or depressed or whatever it was I was going through. Fast forward to young adulthood, and I realized that story was still running in me. And I thought, but why? I've done so many things to overcome this. And why is it still there? And so I became fascinated with all things human behavior. And that's why I studied the plethora of things and fields of expertise that you mentioned in my intro, which sounds like such a bizarre road and, with so many curves to take. Why did I study so many different fields? It was because I was really trying to unlock what does it mean to be a human being and what does it mean to do this life in a way that makes us feel like we're doing it right? How can we feel as though we are happy, healthy, and successful in the ways that are important to us and what's
And
important
without boundaries.
and without boundaries? And so many of us, including me at my younger years, put all of these limitations on ourselves, fear, self-doubt. And so I became fascinated with why? Why is this happening to us? And it's not just me, clearly. Everyone around me had some version of it. And now having been through having done management consulting for 20 years, my gosh, I was reporting into C-level executives of huge multinationals. I'm talking billion-dollar companies. And I promise you, it didn't matter if I was dealing with somebody junior or a mid-level manager or a C-level executive like a CEO or a CFO. This theme is universal. And so what I came to understand is we as human beings are wired for survival. Our animal cells evolved to be good at keeping ourselves safe in nature. And what that means is, we've all heard this term fight or flight, and we've all heard, yeah, we're wired for survival. What does that actually mean? It means that we're actually on high alert for the dangers around us. So there are 5 basic needs that any human being really wants to feel, and they need to have those fulfilled. They are, we need to feel loved. We need to feel safe. We need to feel connection, like we belong to a group, like belong to a community. We need to feel as though we are capable of whatever it is we set out to do, wealth, abundance, success, good health. And we need to feel like we're enough. And so I became really fascinated with why this wiring happens. And the nearest thing I could figure out is that, you learn in the world of neuroscience and NLP and hypnotherapy that and psychology, that we are 5% conscious mind, 95% subconscious. So we think we're running the show. We think we're driving our car. We think
Yeah.
we're running our lives, but we're only living in that 5% of what's conscious to us.
We are 95% subconscious.
95% subconscious, and all the power you want to achieve good health, happiness, love, connection, wealth, and abundance, that only changes if you can access the subconscious, that 95% wiring, and flip the script and rewrite that story. And I knew at a young age that I wanted to rewrite that story because I thought that not good enough thing, that's not good enough for me. I wanted my story to be different. And once I figured out how to do it, I thought, how can I help people do this for themselves? So after leaving the consulting world, I started a coaching practice and I built an app so I can teach people, all of the tools they needed. And it still wasn't enough. Then I wanted to understand the science behind the transformations I was seeing in my coaching clients. I wanted to understand all of their hundreds of stories and collect all of this data and really understand how somebody who looks so put together in front of me can still have this story running. And it's just fascinating. And so I thought the other interesting fact is when you study psychology, you learn that 75 to 95% of mental issues, emotional issues go undiagnosed and untreated because so many people still, it's changing. I would say in the last 5 years, for sure, it has changed because now you have Olympians talking about mental health issues. You have companies looking for mental health solutions for their people who are overstressed. There's a stress epidemic. We're in a culture of burnout now.
That's right.
So now it's becoming a more mainstream conversation. But back when I started this work, I realized if you don't have these 5 core needs met, this is what's causing most of our stress and anxiety. We constantly worry about money. We constantly worry subconsciously about being alone and not feeling connected to this earth, to the people that we are in relationships with, to our children, our parents, our communities. We don't feel safe in certain situations. We feel very much alone in this world. And now everyone's talking about this new term called imposter syndrome, which all stems from an unconscious, subconscious belief that we're not enough in some way. And I promise you, if young entrepreneurs and young people in school and those young adults just finishing school and starting in the workforce even understood that these top CEOs have the same story running, I promise you it's universal. So I became obsessed, probably is the right word, with uncovering a way to help people help themselves.
So is that why you created what you call the rewire mindset system?
Correct. I wanted to give people a set of tools so that they can learn to start coaching themselves and shift this dialogue for themselves so that they can be unstoppable and learn how to pull their own walls down. Because if people aren't seeking coaching or therapy and they're wonderful tools, I just believe that they're a toolkit. If you need a screwdriver,
Yeah,
only a screwdriver can do the job of a screwdriver. Get a screwdriver. It's not a big deal.
right,
Have it in your toolkit. Use it if you need it. Discard it if you don't.
right.
But a lot of people won't reach for that. So I thought, how can I give people the tools so that they can start to bring what's in the subconscious to the foreground into their awareness? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can see it, it's unlocked forever. And it gives you the power to move beyond fear, beyond those limitations, and actually access finally that good state of health you want to be in, the career and the life that excites you, the love and relationship you want, the sort of family you want to develop, the sort of work you want to do, your passion and your purpose, because how you do one thing is how you do many things. So for example, if you have a subconscious belief running in your background that says you're alone in this world, let's talk about how it plays out in relationships. So in a relationship, do you really depend on your partner? Do you really believe and trust that they're going to be there for you? So if you don't believe that they're going to be there for you because you're alone in this world and you have to do everything yourself, does your partner feel like they are a partner? Do they feel like they can be depended upon? And everyone wants that. We all want to be there for someone. And so then how does that belief play out in your work situation? Let's say you're an entrepreneur. Do you rely on your business partner? Or do you make them feel like you have to manage everything? Do you rely on your teams? Do you empower your teams and make them feel like you can rely on their skill set? Or are you going to be a micromanager?
Right.
With your family at home, let's say you're a mom or dad and you
Yeah,
feel like you have to do everything because you're alone in this world. Well, how exhausting is that?
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. So you go to work feeling like you have to do everything. Then you come home to your family, you feel like you have to do everything by yourself. It's not a sustainable way to live. So if you can just unlock these core needs, understand what language is running in your operating system, and then shift the language so that you can understand yourself better, then you can understand your partner better, your colleagues better, your family members better. And it's a much more, for one, it's a much more peaceful way to live. For two, it allows for deeper connection with yourself and with others and with your extended family members, your team members, even in business. And it allows you to actually access better health, wealth, and abundance. And it's really, there's a magic to it that's easy and quick, but yet so powerful.
Well, I try to unlock my core self by taking the quiz that you have
Oh,
on.
you did?
I did take the quiz and I thought maybe that I was really more curious about what blocks do I have that I'm not
Yeah.
aware of. My major archetype types were, I'll tell you. So for the stallion, dolphin, and cheetah, I was at 80%. And,
Amazing.
and the bear and the gazelle, and I have to tell you, anytime I see a gazelle anywhere near me, I worry. So
Oh,
the gazelle and stag at 40%. Yeah, and I know there is a science behind this, as you explained,
hmm
because of the
yeah.
patterns of behavior and how this methodology helps to rewire me. But maybe you
Yeah.
could just talk a bit more about that.
Sure. So what you're talking about there, Jackie, is called the Life Block Quiz. So I wanted to give people a way to tap into So those 5 core needs that we talked about, the need to feel loved, connected, safe, abundant, or capable, and the fact that we all need to feel enough. When we don't have those needs met, there becomes a subconscious story that runs in the background. And there's kind of 2 sides to a coin in how it can play out as a personality type, if you will. So I was trying to map, what are the personality types I have seen in all of my client data, but not just my client data. I incorporated every single person I've ever met in my life as well as part of that data. Family members, extended family members, friends of family, friends, the social acquaintances. And I made sure that there was a profile that fit every personality type. And so what you get when you take this life block quiz, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes. And it's designed to elicit your subconscious responses. So don't answer the quiz as though it's the person you want to be. Answer it as you. So it's designed to pull out what are the things that you were missing at a young age. And so what were those stories what were those little explanations? Like my meaning making human beingness came up with, oh, I'm not good enough to be on this beach because of my skin color. Well, the I'm not good enough became my story. And so the 2 flip sides of the I'm not good enough story are the cheetah. So welcome to the cheetah family. I'm a cheetah as well. But here's what happens. So when you have early defining moments, and I promise you, 100% of human beings fall into these personality types. They are universal. If you're a human being, you don't get to outrun this stuff. You don't get to outwork it. You don't get to outmake money. You don't get to out substance abuse it. Like, it shows up. And until you learn about yourself, these things are going to keep challenging you. So the best way to get through life in a happy, healthy, and successful way is to understand who you are, what your core wiring is, and then how to move beyond it in a healthy way. So what happens is, if your story was the I'm not good enough, and so you're a cheetah like me, well, that then develops into a set of strengths because you have to figure out how to navigate this world with this story. So if I believe that I'm not good enough, then I'm going to work harder. I'm going to learn to be really resourceful. I'm going to learn how to navigate difficult situations. And my tagline is, I get things done. You want to move house? I will find you a home. I will furnish it. I will sign the lease or get the mortgage, and I'll have you moved in within 3 weeks. How many other people can say that?
I can relate.
I've actually done it. Of course, because you're a cheetah. Of course. So what happens is that little pattern that we all don't want to talk about because it feels shameful, and this is something we need to just knock out and shift the narrative, is that then becomes a set of strengths. And depending on how you navigate your life, they turn into the things that are important to you. They turn into the things that you value. So I'm a take action person. You want to get things done, you ask a cheetah to get it done. A
Right.
cheetah will find the time, no matter how busy they are. They
That's
will figure out, right?
right.
There you go.
Exactly.
So they
Exactly.
value action. They value excitement. They value freedom because we're so used to getting it done and doing things on our own. And I don't get along well with people that just have persistent complaints and do nothing about it. So then how you choose your people and how you choose to be in a relationship and how you choose your work, it all shows up. And so if you just understand these patterns about yourself, what are your patterns of behavior? What are your triggers? How do you respond when you're triggered?
Yeah, I actually, I
Yeah.
was just going to ask you to elaborate on that because I was going to say,
Mhm.
how does the brain work to understand why we think the way that we think?
Well, the brain doesn't work to understand why we think the way we think because the brain is wired for efficiency. So the brain just says, okay, the story is I'm not good enough. So let's just complete that story. I'm not good enough. And so what do we do when we encounter a situation where we feel this trigger? I'm not good enough. Oh, we're going to work harder. We're going to be smarter. We're going to do the best we can. And there's so many stories of athletes, for example, who weren't the most naturally gifted athletically. So
Sure.
what did they do? They trained harder. Kobe Bryant was a great example of this.
Just about to say, yeah.
Yeah, he's got so many videos out there where he talks about some athletes are trained to do 2-a-days. That means twice a day they work out for 2-3 hours. He would do 3-a-days. He threw in that extra workout because he knew that in 10 years, there was no one that could out-train him, outpace him because he had already put in all of those extra hours of work. So
Right.
he was a brilliant example for that. So the other flip side of the cheetah is,
I was actually going to say one thing I noted about myself as well about the eagle and the bear at 60%.
yes.
And so it was a really good exercise for me to uncover and just to understand why I act the way that I act, or why sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I am always in this. I wouldn't say always, but a lot of times, I have to, it's not me, I don't have to, but I do work harder just to make sure I am achieving my goals. And sometimes I am the person, like you said, 10 things at once to get it done. And I say, well, why can't everyone do that?
Yeah, it's part of your wiring, right? So
Right, it
that's
is.
part of who you are, and you can't outdo it. So understanding how to do it. But the flip side is, there's a positive and negative to everything. There's a positive and a negative to every value. So if your strength is you take action, that's great. But sometimes we can be too impulsive. Sometimes we can be too quick to action. Sometimes we can feel like everything is urgent. And so we're constantly stressed. So learning how to develop that in a healthy way where we can prioritize and still take action when necessary, but learn to dial it back when it's not that necessary now is a healthy habit that a cheetah could learn, for example.
So how can people listening to the show, they want to know, how can they elevate their lives and achieve their goals? Of course, in addition to doing the survey,
hmm
better understand.
Well, that's a big question. So how can they elevate their lives? I mean, the first step is really understanding who you are. And one of the things I understood most when I was in my coaching practice, because as a coach, it's my job to sort of get into your model of the world. Like I said at the start, I see some, a man or woman sitting in front of me who looks completely put together. And I'm thinking, how is it that they haven't accomplished their goals yet towards health, wealth, love, whatever it is they're working on, career, spiritual guidance, whatever it is they might be seeking. And so it's my job as a coach to sort of get into their construct of the world. So if you imagine we've, imagine living in a glass house and we've actually put those walls up at a subconscious level. And so it's my job as the coach to understand and listen for their subconscious language,
Yeah.
get into their little glass house and say, now, how can I pull these walls down for them so that they can have more possibilities show up? And what I came to realize is after we did this exercise, great, we pulled down all of their walls, we removed all their limitations, amazing. The next step is we usually talk about their goals.
Mhm.
And then I would have them visualize the end state. So once you've got that house, once you have that money in your account, once you have that amazing job and that amazing relationship, how are you going to feel?
Yeah.
And I realized that most people couldn't fully describe to me that they would feel happier or more fulfilled or more satisfied with their life. And I thought, what's missing here? And I realized we are not told in any sort of structured way how to figure out who we are as people and what actually makes us happy. And so I thought there's a big gap in this process missing here. It's not just about pulling down your limitations and helping you achieve your goals and putting a plan in place. I can do that for the next 50 years. I can do that in my sleep. But if you don't know that getting that goal is going to make you happier, what's the point of us doing it anyway? And so what I came to realize is a lot of people were defining happiness and success as goal achievement, and they're not the same thing. And so the first step we needed to take was to help people kind of map out what are the things that light you up? What are the things that take your energy? What are the things that give you energy? What are the things that excite you, make you feel fulfilled, make you feel strong, capable? If you're a stallion, which is another one of the animal archetypes in the life block quiz, a stallion values freedom. I'm part stallion.
And so am
So
I, 80% stallion.
there you go. Okay. So you like freedom, independence. I wanted work that was virtual because this means I get to travel anywhere and work from anywhere in the world. I hated driving into an office 2 or 3 hours in my car every single day for 20 years. Oh my God, kill me now. I hated it. I liked my work. I liked the people I was working with. I enjoyed the work itself, but just that structure of being forced into, a position and having to be somewhere geographically. And so now, of course, I've designed a business that speaks to what I value. I value freedom and independence. I'm my own boss now. I get to work from anywhere in the world. I get to set my own hours. I get to work as much or as little as I want. I mean, there's lots of stress that comes with owning your own business, but it feeds my need for freedom. I don't have to sign on for a job that I hate. I don't have to drive to an office every day, 5 days a week. So it really sort of helps you unlock who are you? What are the things that are important to you? And then we build a life around that. Now,
Right.
that's the life that makes you feel happier, healthier, and more successful. Because the other thing you have to ask yourself when you're not having your needs met and when you don't have a life that is built around the things that are important to you, your values, in other words, you end up with a life that's exhausting and uninspired. And when that happens, the thing is, needs are non-negotiable. We need food, water, and sleep. If we don't have those three things, we die. Imagine now that your needs are almost that non-negotiable. So we know we all get hangry if we don't eat on time or eat whatever combination of foods work best for our body. And everyone is different. I'm a high protein, low carb girl, but when I'm doing weight training, I need my carbs or I feel low energy and I do get a little cranky. Not cranky emotionally, but just cranky energetically. Like my body gets cranky with me saying like, what are you doing? You're asking too much of me and you're not giving me enough of what I need. Go eat potatoes, please. I'll say, okay, I'll eat potatoes. It's counterproductive, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then I eat the potatoes. And guess what? I feel amazing because I gave my body what it needs because now we're having a stronger dialogue. So it's understanding what it is that you need. And here's the thing, it's a unique formula for everyone. So there's no way that 8 or 10 of us could sit at a breakfast table at a restaurant and order exactly the same. We could even order exactly the same item on the menu, but there's zero chance of us ordering it exactly the same way. Why? Because your exercise, your diet, your nutrition are going to be tailored for you. So when needs aren't met over time, we start to get cranky. We start to get tired. We become unhappy. We become
Resentful.
resentful. Yes. We enter a state of dis-ease. Where does the word disease come from, right? Dis-ease. And so then what happens to our physical body is we're now creating mental, emotional, and physical stress. And over time, it shows up with skin irritations, autoimmune disorders, cardiac issues, other health related issues, an injury that won't heal. You just keep rolling your ankle over and over. This is your body's way of screaming at you and saying, please take a look at this. Please do something. You're not living in alignment with who you are. Figure out what lights you up. Figure out what makes you feel energized. Figure out what excites you and then build your life around that. And so many physical health problems can be attributed to just not living in alignment with our passion, our purpose, who we were meant to be in this world. I promise you, our little, subconscious human being selves that are running around worried about survival is one thing, but your soul, your spirit, your essence wants great things for you. There's a reason you have those big dreams. There's a reason you have those big visions. And if you can just pick up those life blocks and those obstacles and move them aside, I promise you, everything just starts to happen with more grace and ease, and everything just starts to fall in place. Your mental health improves. Your ability to manage your emotions and quiet the mind improves. Your physical health improves. Your love and relationships blossom. Your work is much more enjoyable, and everything just changes.
So, Zara, what motivates you specifically and incentivizes you when you have a goal?
Well, my values for sure, my purpose. I know this is my purpose. Like, it's so strange that I took this path, and this has not been an easy path. I mean, there are lots of people, including myself, that wondered if I was crazy to write a book or to go down this path to teach people these tools of how to live life in a more, just in a healthier, more positive mindset. But, I was fascinated with how to unlock that, how to uncover it. So I still continue my work and my studies in the field of energy and the laws of the universe to uncover how to do this thing called being human really well. So that still motivates me. Love and connection motivates me. I now understand my needs really well. So, for example, I live in Miami. Shocker that I wasn't allowed in South Africa on the beach, and I made sure I had my beach house one day.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. So now I'm living my dream life driving the car I always dreamt of. Not that I'm attached to personal material things, I'm not, but I needed to prove to myself that I could accomplish every goal that I set out to, and I have. And so now I'm fascinated with how can I give back? How can I teach people the tools so that they can help themselves? And honestly, that's what excites me. Yes, I like money. Yes, I like travel. And if I can do them all in one, that would make me the happiest girl in the world.
Of course, my final question to you, what is happiness and has your definition of happiness changed over time?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. And absolutely. And there's a positive and a negative to this. The answer to happiness, it's not an easy answer. What I've come to realize is that we have four bodies: the spiritual or energetic body, the mental, emotional, and physical body. And happiness is really understanding the complexities of what it is to be human and being able to harmonize all of those four bodies so that everything is just running well and vibrating at the right level so that you can be happy, healthy, wealthy, and successful in everything that you do. And finding the way there, I wish it was a simple answer, but I think the work I ended up uncovering was how to be a successful human being. So that's what happiness is for me now. And that answer, just like the set of needs, is different for each one of us. Some people are happiest in the mountains. Some are happy on the ocean. Some are happy with less. Some are happy with more. You have to figure out what it is. What's your magic formula? And so in the book, 6 Weeks to Happy, I give you access to the Life Block quiz, which we're offering your audience at 30% off, by the way, including a copy of the book.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely, so that you can get started. And I promise you, I am your biggest skeptic. That's why I probably studied all of these different fields, because I wanted results that were quick and easy and where I could see the payoff right away. I need to see results quickly or I won't do it. And so I chose the top strategies and tools from all of these different fields of study. And so what you get when you do the 6 Weeks to Happy program is you get a 6-week plan, 3 tools per week, where you get to retrain the brain and the nervous system away from stress, back to balance. You learn to quiet the mind. You learn what your core needs are and how to have those met through the Life Block quiz and through learning how to make small changes in your life so that you're actually living a life that excites you. Because what excites you is going to be just for you. And what excites me is for me. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. And I'm sure my listeners are really looking forward to getting your book. So, Zahra Karsan, thank you very much. What a great show. Thank you for coming out.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Jackie.
This brings us to the end of today's show. I invite you to visit Zara's website, 6weekstohappy.com, where you can do the Life Block quiz. You're also invited to use the promo code rewire30 $. That's REWIRE 30 $, in order to receive a 30% discount on the quiz, as well as the 6 Weeks to Happy ebook. For additional details, please refer to our show notes. And finally, please remember to embrace each moment with a smile, for in the tapestry of life, your happiness is the most enduring thread. I'm Jackie Denise. Have a nice week.